So, what are we covering today? Well, we're going to start off with the question that is so important, especially nowadays when people seem to not understand personal boundaries. And the very first question we're starting off with is, I stood up for myself. Then why do I feel ashamed and guilty for drawing healthy boundaries? So that's one of the questions we're going to be covering. Plus, I'm going to share with you how you can be entered into a drawing to win the course, how to turn on your leadership light in today's dark world, mission, vision, purpose, and path. We're also going to cover question number 2. What if I move forward and it's even worse than where I am right now? And then question number 3, Dawn, what do you see happening with the election? And by the way, that's all going to be down to the 3 faces of fear, fight, flight, and freeze. So welcome to Ask Me Anything for Your Success. I'm Dawn Ferguson, certified hypnotist, instructor. I train others to do exactly what I'm doing right now, and rapid results coach. I'm here to give you the insight, but more than just insight, because there are a lot of people out there right now that are pretty freaking brilliant and their light is turned down as low as it'll go. So it's not just insight, but it's actionable steps that you can take to improve the quality of your life right now, starting today, because the powerful part of your mind, known as the subconscious, has to run off of what's known as electricity, just like the lights in your house. You got to plug them in. Well, the electricity your subconscious runs off of is emotions. And it doesn't care if it's progress emotions or if it's pain avoidance emotions. It just says, give me the juice. But then it has to go by the law, like creates like. So if you're in pain avoidance and those are the emotions you're running, you're going to have a life where you're hiding. You feel like you cannot take on what's coming your way. And it seems that you go from one crisis to the next. Where if you're working with progress, notice I don't say positive, not positive emotions. That's BBS, bad belief systems. So instead, we look for progress emotions. It goes, you know what? The fear is still going to be there. I'm going to discover how to use it. It's going to be extra fuel for me to reach greater heights of success with less effort. The triggers are still going to be there. I'm going to use those people, places, and things to bring me out at my very best. So your neural pathways in your brain can be grouped into these 2 areas, either pain avoidance or progress producing. Let's get you into progress producing, because that's where your dreams turned into reality lie. Okay. So I want to touch on how you can be entered to win this course, Mission, Vision, Purpose, and Path. How to turn on your leadership light into today's dark world. Yes, that is a mouthful, isn't it? Okay. The only way you can get a hold of this course at this point now is either you've already worked with me, and so you'll be getting access to it, or through this drawing. It is not available to the general public. So what do you need to do? Okay, if you're watching me live on Facebook, then it's going to be easy for you to follow these directions. If you are on YouTube, if you're listening to my Stop the Self-Sabotage podcast, these are the 4 steps. Number 1, go to my Facebook page, Ferguson and Associates. Needs to be on the business page. It's the only way I'm going to be able to track it. Number 2, pinned to the top of that page will be this video. Ask Me Anything for Your Success, August 6, 2020. What I want you to do, step number 3, comment with your takeaway from today. But it needs to have the hashtag MVPP. That stands for Mission, Vision, Purpose, and Path. Okay? So give me that hashtag MVPP and then give me your takeaway. And then Number 4, at the end of this month, I'll announce the winner. Okay, so now let's move in to our questions. First question. I stood up for myself, so why do I feel ashamed and guilty? Well, it's pretty simple when you think about it. If you are having to draw a boundary with someone because they're invading your personal space, your emotional space, your head, your mindset, they are typically professional invaders. Being a manipulator is part of their identity. Okay, so here you are, a novice, going, woohoo, I finally drew a boundary and said, you're not going to come into my space. I'm not talking about going after people. I'm not talking about you invading their space. I'm talking about someone coming into yours and telling you what you need to do that is direct violation of what you value in life. And you stand up for yourself and you're like, you know what? You're not going to talk to me that way. You're not going to treat me this way. This behavior is not going to continue. And so you share that with them in a healthy way. Well, of course, you're not going to feel good about this because you've been conditioned that when someone screams at you, hollers at you, tries to manipulate you, as a child, you had to go along with whatever they wanted from you. So you're up against a professional. What was that saying in the Indiana Jones movie? One of them, never bring a knife to a gunfight. Okay, so here you are, brand new, standing up for yourself, and this manipulator, it is part of their identity. They are going to try to pull you back onto that trauma triangle as quick as possible, to where they're either going to try to bully you, they're going to try to rescue you because, oh, they know better than you do, or they're going to act like the victim. Look what you did to them. Now, when you stood up for yourself, you pulled yourself off of that trauma triangle. But yet your programming and conditioning has been such that that's where you were taught to hang out as a kid. So it's not the healthy, functional part of you that's the adult that is feeling that guilt and that shame. It's the little kid that's in you going, uh-oh, I did something that was wrong. And now this is how it was used to bring me back into line. By the way, guilt is healthy, shame is not. So you really need to be looking at, do you feel guilty or is it shame that you're experiencing? Because guilt says that you violated a value. In fact, the person who was asking me about this said, well, I think that I could have been a little bit nicer about it. I'm going to let you know right now, being nice is not a value, not at all. Being nice is how you've been conditioned and programmed to be a doormat. So being nicer about something, no. Could it have been healthier in the way that you expressed yourself? Maybe. And so after something like this, you always want to do www.ebi. What went well, even better if. You never look at even better if until you've done what went well. Why is that? Because we have to activate that group of neural pathways that I was talking about, known as progress. If you go right into how could I have done it better, you're in pain avoidance. And all that's going to do is it's going to lead you into avoiding standing up for yourself in the next situation. Instead, after the situation is over with, you said, what did I do well? And then this lays the foundation of the progress pathways moving forward. By the way, if you're joining me live and you've got any questions on this, go ahead. Give me a shout out on them. I'll do my best to answer them. So, number one, I stood up for myself. Why do I feel ashamed and guilty? Well, guilty What went well, even better if. Maybe you did violate one of your values, but first we need to look at the values that you enacted that were healthy before we can look at making any fine tunements. The second one is it's shame. Shame says that you're broken, you're flawed, you cannot be fixed, you must have a hero, you can't do it all on your own. Shame is as bad as it can get as far as emotional states. And if that's what you're experiencing, that's the younger you inside going, I was never given the skill set on how to be able to stand up for myself. And so you need to nurture that younger you and go, you know what? That's okay. I get that. You know, the part of us that knows exactly how to handle it, what I like to call inner advisor, uh, that's going to come out. Anytime this situation comes forward, what went well, the inner advisor came out. Even better if that younger you learns that the only time they're supposed to be triggered is for things that are joyful and happy and full expression of you being around others and being your very best. That when we get into challenges is when we have one part of our identity that gets confused on when it's supposed to come out versus another part. You know, if you love the work that you do, you're going to have challenges if that part of your identity comes out whenever you're supposed to be intimate with your partner, because all you're going to want to do is talk about your work. So we have these different aspects to our personality. We need to look at, is the correct aspect coming out at the correct time when it's been triggered? And then the third thing on, I stood up for myself. Why do I feel ashamed and guilty? You're dealing with a freaking professional. They're a manipulator. They know how to take you down. You have just started this journey. Great. So now you can say, I'm not going to be looking for people that I need to draw healthy boundaries with, but I know that when I do, and I have these emotions, it's simply byproducts of a painful past, and I'm going to use them to bring me out even more at my best. Okay. Now let's go into question number 2. What if I move forward and it's actually worse than where I am right now? Yeah, because it could be. What if you leave the job and things don't work out? What if you leave the marriage and you have some sort of regret? What if you tell someone those healthy boundaries that I no longer need you in my life, and then a little bit later on, you're going, maybe I need to reconsider that. Yeah, it's a very valid concern. But you won't know if it's valid or not because you are using this excuse to keep you stuck and struggling where you are right now. There's something known as your terror barrier. After age 13, your subconscious mind does not want to learn anything new. Okay. So it's going, I'm just going to continue to regurgitate what I learned, what I took on as beliefs about me, who I am, and what I can do in this life. And I'm going to continue to regurgitate it through the rest of my adult years. Think of it like this. Would you get into last night's trash to try to fix tonight's dinner? Because that's what's happening. So the subconscious mind is saying, prove it to me. Prove it to me that we really are worthy, that we really are deserving, that we should have this, because I'm going to throw roadblocks in your way. And the closer you get to taking action and the more intense that action is, the bigger the roadblocks I'm going to put to see if you decide to stop. See, you have been conditioned by what your subconscious took on the first 13 years. In fact, psychology tells us that 80% of who we are as an adult was learned by age 8. And you keep regurgitating that, okay? So the subconscious is saying, this is what I took on as a belief. And now I want you, as the conscious functional adult, to reprogram me, recondition me. We're the only species that we know of that have the capability to do this. So the subconscious is going, prove to me. If you don't, I'm just going to keep replaying those old programs. So prove to me by moving through those old programs. I like to say using them as stepping stones for your next level of success, because they're never going to go away. I am always going to be triggered by somebody in authority telling me what to do. The very first thing that I'm going to do is state my freedom internally. So we have what's known as 5 motivators. We have status. Are we up or are we down? We have control. Are we going to control ourselves, or are we going to point the finger at somebody else? And then we have freedom. And if we feel like somebody has stepped on our freedom, that's exactly what happens. You have to see the video, folks, to see what's going to happen. But I have learned to tame that internally and go, wait, does this person in authority have a good point on this? Is there something I can actually use? So I take that trigger of, I'm going to fight against this. And I actually use it as energy to bring me out at my very best. But you got to recondition yourself. So what if I move forward and it's worse than where I am now? You're not going to know until you take the action. And the more action you take, the more the subconscious is going, really? Can you handle this? Prove it to me. So the action not only needs to get consistent, it needs to increase in what you're doing. It's like lifting weights. You can't stay at the 3-pounders the rest of your life and expect to build any type of muscle. You have to continually be increasing the load. And you know, this is one of the reasons why we can look at somebody and within 1,000th of 1 second, judge them on their capacity to be able to handle things in their life by the way they look. Because it does show up physically. I'm not saying you got to be a bodybuilder. I'm saying you need to look like you're healthy enough, that you're not eating your emotions, that you're not avoiding those conflicts, that you're stepping in and you're saying, how am I going to use this? And then only after you do that, it needs to be 21 days of consistent action. It needs to be 66 days of then it needs to get heavier and heavier, the load that you're picking up. And then 91 days, now it becomes part of your identity. You do not need to think about it. It happens normally, naturally, and easily. Whew. Okay. And then after that, you've proven to yourself that what if it is worse than where you are right now? You're going to be able to figure it out. Because you are worthy, you are deserving, you are capable, and you have reconditioned and reprogrammed those previous imprints that you will not be denied. You're going to find a way no matter what comes your direction. By the way, this is leadership. This is what it means to step forward, because a true leader is not looking for followers. A true leader is looking for other leaders and showing them the way. Okay. Again, if you want to get access to my program, Mission, Vision, Purpose, and Path, the only way you can do that is by being entered in the drawing, Mission, Vision, Purpose, and Path, how to turn on your leadership light in today's dark world, where I am going to go in depth on all of this. The only way you can get that is by winning it. So put hashtag MVPP, Mission, Vision, Purpose, Path. Yes, I have to keep things simple for myself. Okay. So do that. And then give me your takeaway for today. And every time you do that, you'll be entered in the drawing. Okay. Now I'm going to be moving on to question number 3. Dawn, What do you see happening with the election? I see people being manipulated even more in pain avoidance. I see it's already started as far as, remember how I said 21 days of consistent action, 66 days, you've got a habit and pattern. Then you've got 91 days where now it's part of your identity. It just happens normally and naturally. It's already been going on for the 91 days. So what do I see happening with the election? I see that you will either come out stronger as a leader because the election will not have any impact on you whatsoever, or you're going to be even more of a sheeple than you are right now. Whenever we went into lockdown, I made myself a promise. I made myself a promise that in the 5 to Thrive, I was going to come out better than when I went in. What is the 5 to Thrive? It's the 5 areas of life you're looking at improving at any given time. So the first one is your finances, because that, even though money is not the most important thing in life, it touches everything that is. So I said, you know what? I'm going to come out with my finances in better shape. Number 2, what comes after that? Our health. I said I was going to come out stronger than what I went in. Number 3, relationships. I was going to find the important ones that I wanted to keep. In fact, I wound up 2 groups of friends that I would typically see maybe once a month. Oh my gosh, I get to see them every single week now. So my important relationships, I was going to make sure that I had that foundation of support. And the ones that were not important, I was going to let go. So that meant I was going to need to take 21 days and see which relationships are optimizing me. And I'll give you an insight from my own life. I had somebody, really good friends with them. And remember, every conflict is a conflict in values. Every single conflict. Well, I value getting out there and being a leader. This person was working at a job that they didn't necessarily like. They had been bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining about it for months. And so then they saw the lockdown as a perfect way of why they couldn't perform their job and decided to claim the extra unemployment. Okay, you know what? You have that right. I also have the right to say, I don't hang around slackers. I got a text message just a few days ago. Hey, haven't heard from you. We're really wanting to see about reconnecting you. No, I don't reply. You're no longer in my life, and I do not need to give a reason why. I have moved on. So that's number 3. You've got to look at those relationships. Do they have the same values, or do they embody a value that you want? Number 4, your career. Yep. Was going to come out even better on my career. Before we went into lockdown, I was not coming live to you 3 times a week, helping you to be the leader in your own life, giving you the tips, tools, and techniques. So I had to step up my game and say, it's not about me. Oh, do I want to be on camera? Oh, my hair's really fuzzy today. Yeah, curly girl problems. Okay. But I had to say, no, my career is igniting the light and then showing people how to turn it on even brighter in their own life. Got to step up and do that. And then number 5, untapped potential. What did I want to experience that I was not experiencing before? And I wanted to find new ways to be able to travel, ways that were safe and healthy. I'm not hanging out in the general public, but oh my gosh, yeah, the cabin overlooking the mountains in the woods was absolutely phenomenal. And I'm already planning the next trip. So what about you in your 5 to Thrive? How are you now promising yourself that you're going to come out even better than when you went in? You've got 91 days. 3 weeks for emotional optimization, 66 days for it to become a habit and pattern, 91 days where you don't even need to think about it. And now you're on to the next thing. What else are you going to improve? Take just one of those. I can take all 5 because I've been doing this for 16 years. Oh my gosh. You Take one of them and then promise to yourself that you're going to do it. You are going to be the leader that's going to turn on your light. But know that as you do so, what if I move forward and then it's worse than where I am now? That's going to show up. You got to prove to yourself that you're worthy and deserving. And then I'm going to stand up for myself and I'm going to say that these are the people, places, and things I need to let go of so I can embrace what's the very best for me. And when you do that, you're going to feel shame and guilt. Guilt says that you violated a value. So look, is it the truth? Do you either need to upgrade the rules that you have around that, or do you need to get a new value? And shame simply says that someone has pulled you back onto that trauma triangle where victim, hero, and bully gets played out. Get that younger you off of that triangle and say, no, I am going to allow the inner advisor to come out. Now, if you need assistance with that, because this is what I specialize in, it's known as parts therapy. Making sure that different parts of your personality know how they're supposed to be performing in your life to turn on your power, to activate your potential, and to get your success. So if you want to see about working with me on that, then what you can do is you can text consult to 636-699-7791. What I need you to do, though, is I need you to ask for me. If you just text consult, then what's going to happen is that you're going to get one of my associates. Someone will respond back to you with a couple of times that I'm available. So text that you want to have a consult with me. I'll typically be able to talk to you within 48 to 72 hours, and text that to 636-699-7791. By the way, if you want to learn how to do this for other people, if you truly want to step into the leader of your own life, let me train you and how the different parts of our personality work together. You can find that information at ischforyou.com and take a look, see if maybe this type of assistance that you can give to other people is part of your calling. Okay, so give me MVPP and then your takeaway from today. And that will put you in the drawing for the course, that this is the only way you can get this course, how to turn on your leadership light in today's dark world through your mission, vision, purpose, and path. Whew, covered a lot. Text Dawn and consult to 636-699-7791. Go to ischforyou.com to see if this is how you should be assisting other people. But whatever you do, start today by taking action. Your light is already there, and it will turn on brighter the more action you take. So until we get together again, brilliant blessings on your brilliance. The world needs your light right now more than ever before.